Alright, so what are the best TradingView indicators for 2025? And even more importantly, how can we change the settings of these indicators to potentially improve them even further? Well, that is exactly what I'm gonna show you guys in this video, so let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right into it. Alright, so let's get started here with our first indicator. And to open this indicator up, you do want to head up here to the Indicators tab in TradingView. So go up and click Indicators right here. And this indicator is actually a special version of an indicator that many of you guys are probably familiar with, and that is the MACD, or for short, the Moving Average Convergence Divergence. This right here is one of the most popular indicators, and you can see that by how many different versions of the MACD we have. We have tons of different specialized MACD indicators where people sort of change the settings of the MACD and even combine the MACD with other indicators. But for this video, what I want to do is that I want to open up the standard Moving Average Convergence Divergence, and now we're going to change the settings manually. So to do this, we go down here to the Settings tab of the MACD, and then we want to head here to the Inputs tab. And for this video, I will actually show you guys two settings. And as you can see right here, the standard setting for the MACD is 12 as the fast length and 26 as the slow length. These two together creates the MACD line, and then we have a signal line. But for the first setting here, I actually want to tweak it a bit. I want to change the fast length here. I want to decrease it to 8, and I also want to decrease the slow length to 24. These slightly shorter moving averages will make the MACD react faster to momentum changes and also potentially detect things like divergences faster. So it's not a big change here. The next setting will be a big change, but it's still a change nonetheless here. You also want to keep the rest as it is. We can actually keep the signal smoothing at 9, 2, so 8, 24, 9. And also for this video, I'm just gonna change the colors here of the histogram to white. I'm also gonna change the MACD line to white, and we're actually gonna uncheck the signal line. Let me also make the MACD line a bit more clear. The reason I'm unchecking the signal line here is because, you know, when you are used to the MACD indicator, you don't really need the signal line because all the information is already displayed on the MACD histogram. So now we have our custom MACD indicator here on the chart. Let's go to the recent price action here. And let's just super quickly take a look at how we can use the MACD. Well, one of the main ways to use the MACD is to use it for divergences. And a divergence, if you don't know, is when the price goes in one direction. For example, right here, you can see that the price prints one low and then a lower low. But switch your attention to the MACD, you can see one low and then a higher low. Same thing true on the histogram. You can actually use both the MACD line and the histogram for divergence, but you can see that they go in the opposite direction, right? Lower lows on the price, higher lows on the indicator. This is a bullish divergence indicating a potential reversal. And as you can see, the price actually reversed after that divergence. Here you can also see the opposite, bearish divergence. The MACD goes in one direction. The price goes in one direction, the MACD goes in the opposite direction. That is a bearish divergence indicating a reversal to the downside. But now guys, as I said, I will actually show you one more setting. And to do that, let's once again go up here to the Indicators tab in TradingView. Then we want to search for MACD again, open up another moving average indicator. We can actually have both here on the chart, so I can show you guys the difference. Now we go to the settings once again here, and then to the inputs. Now the setting I will show you guys right now, is a much faster setting. This is one of my favorite settings, and because it's so fast, it can be suitable for, you know, day trading. Some people even use it for scalping. But what you want to do here is that you want to change the fast length to 3, the slow length to 10. The signal smoothing we want to actually increase here all the way up to 16. And for the oscillator moving average types, we want to change the oscillator to SMA and the signal line to SMA. Then I want to go to the inputs tab here, just change all of these to white like this. And once again, we don't need the signal line. The MACD line we can keep white, make a bit bigger. And as you can see now on the chart, the lower MACD is the new setting. This right here is a setting used by, popularized by famous traders like Linda Raschke, Adam Grimes use this setting as well. And this one I specifically use for identifying strong momentum moves, because after strong momentum moves, we often tend to see good pullbacks. But yeah, guys, if you want to learn more about how to use the MACD indicator, I actually have a full course on the MACD. It's almost 1 hour long, so I highly recommend to check that one out to dive deeper. I will also for now close out the Linda Raschke MACD, because now I do want to move on further to one of my favorite indicators. So now let's take a look at our second indicator. To do this, once again, we want to head up to the indicators tab in TradingView. And what we want to search for right now is pivot. You want to search for pivot highs and lows, or pivot. I always mess this one up. Pivot high, low, pivot points. There we go. Pivot points, high, low. You want to press this one right here. And after you press on the indicators, you can see that multiple points here appear on the chart. But now we want to change a few settings. So what you want to do here is that you want to go up to the settings tab in the upper left corner. You press right here, and then you go to inputs. And here, when it comes to pivot points, a very normal one is to have 10, 10, 10, 10. Some traders also use 5, 5, 5, 5. But what I actually prefer is to make the length much longer, and you will soon realize why. One of my favorite settings is 20, 20, 20, 20. And you might of course wonder, what does these numbers actually tell us? Well, this is the calculation period of the pivot points. So the longer the calculation period, the more significant the pivot points will be. And this is very important for our use case. What you also can do if you want to is to change the colors of the pivot points, but I do think these pivot points are fine. I'm just going to change the text here to be black, to be a bit more clear. And now we are ready to click OK. But now when you have the pivot points on the chart, you might wonder, okay, so these are, it's nice points, but they, how do I even use them? Well, one of my favorite use cases for pivot points is actually to use them for support and resistance, because when we are using 2020 as our settings, the chart will only show the most significant pivot points. So as you, for example, can see on the chart right here, it looks like, in this case, by the way, we're looking at Bitcoin on the daily time frame, but you can see that it really looks like Bitcoin struggled with a level here multiple times. So you can see we have 4 pivot points at pretty much the same level. And this is actually exactly what I'm looking out for. I'm looking out for levels that contains many pivot points. Like for example, this level right here. You then try to contain as many pivot points as possible, and we can draw out a very significant level. I try to tighten it a bit here, something like this. And yet another key level, you can see that we do have a very key sort of support level right here. And together, this one contains the key range here for Bitcoin. And as you guys can see, no surprise, what happened when the Bitcoin price actually broke above this resistance level, which contained multiple pivot points. Well, after the price broke that level, you can see that Bitcoin entered a massive rally here towards the upside. So here in the future, one level we can definitely pay attention to is this level. It's possible that it can flip to become a support here in the future. You can actually see that it pretty much already happened. It bounced just above this level. This is where we saw the recent bounce. But now guys, last but definitely not least, let's take a look at our third indicator. And to do this, now you actually don't want to go to the indicators tab. You do want to go to the charts tab right here, because this indicator, or you can call it an indicator type, or you can call it a chart type, this is actually the volume footprint. So let's open this one up here, and you will see that the chart will completely look different. And by the way, the volume footprint chart is currently only available for TradingView Premium. But don't worry, because I have a special TradingView link. It will be both in the pinned comment of this video and the description, and you can use that link to get TradingView Premium for free for 30 days. And if you, after the trial, want to upgrade, you will also get a $15 bonus. So guys, make sure to use that link so you can follow along in this video. But now then, how do we read this indicator? Well, if we zoom in here, you can see that multiple levels appear here on the chart. And I think that if your chart is not looking like this is probably because you have not changed the settings. So you wanna right click on the chart, and then you want to go to the settings tab, and then you can see that we have a settings tab right here, and these are the specific settings for the volume footprint chart. And what we want to do here is on the type here where it says buy and sell, we actually want to change this type here to delta. This will basically make it so that we this volume footprint chart will show you guys the net buy and selling pressure. And then we can click OK here. And by the way, if you want to learn even more about the volume footprint, I do have a video about that, and I will make sure to link that video up in the video card and the description below. But you do want to change to delta right here. And let's just quickly show you guys how to read this. Well, if we zoom in here, you can see that we have multiple boxes. Some boxes are red and some boxes are green. And the green and red boxes basically shows you the net buying and selling volume. And in general, when we see a move towards the upside, we do want to see a net buying volume. That makes the move even stronger. And the same thing is true for when we see bearish moves. But what you can see here, this is a perfect example. You can see that when Bitcoin broke this key level we talked about earlier, and the level we found with pivot points, the indicator, the pivot point indicator, when you take a look at this break, you can see that once we broke this level, we saw a very, very strong increase in net buying volume. And that is a very good sign when it comes to breakouts. When you see a move towards the upside, you want to see lots of volume supporting the move, and that is exactly what we saw. So when it comes to the settings here for the volume footprint chart, I really like the delta setting. Some traders prefer the buy and sell setting. Let me just show you guys the difference here. So the buy and sell, by the way, you can keep the ATR length for on 14. But for the buy and sell, you can see that now we don't show the difference here between buy and sell. Now you can see both the buy side and the sell side of the volume footprint. But as I said, to learn more about this, I highly recommend to check out my volume footprint video. But alright, so if you want to improve as a trader, you need to keep learning. And luckily, I do have a playlist with tons of free trading courses right here on YouTube. To access them, simply click or tap on the screen right here. I hope I will see you guys over in another video very, very soon.